play a game.
Hello. Sorry, folks. A little bit of a late start there. Hang on. I need to load some lever maps. Grouse. I don't have this one in the thing. So let us fix that. So let's just pause TSC, and we need a lever map. So I need, sorry you guys can't see what's happening. I could show you, but it's boring. I just need to load up a train lever map from extract single folder and NWC. I thought I had scanned this one last night, but I didn't do it properly. I'm just loading it up for the train sim, the TSCX controller, and I just have to load up the lever maps, and it's a DTG route, and it is NWC. Sorry you can't see what I'm doing. There we go. Let's pull that one in. Yes. Just extracting some AP files. We'll get there. Hello, Steve, Joseph, Gary, Benjamin, Michael, and Mattel. How are you all today? Hope you are well. There is a bingo card for today. If you look in the general topic in my Discord, it's there. Now, hopefully, we can start this thing up. And it hasn't figured out what my loco is just yet. There is no lever map for this train. That's boring. Class 221, that should work, shouldn't it? This is a 221, I think. Let's figure it out. Will this work? Ooh, why is it flickering? Okay, the lever maps are working. Good. Good. Okay. Good. Okay. Doors. Right. Is it flickering for the stream as well, or just me? And it's only just started doing that. Doesn't look like it's flickering for you guys. It's only flickering for me. Something's trying to get on top of the Train Sim Classic window, I think. Let me just flick around the windows and see what it is. Yeah, something's definitely trying to minimize TSC. I hope I haven't got some malware. But anyway, we're in Wales today, and we're driving an Avanti West Coast thing, and I think we're going as far as Holyhead. This is getting really annoying, this flickering. Hope it stops. Alright, off we go to Bangor. Safety systems too. Oh, they're already on in this train, aren't they? You don't get a choice, I don't think. Alrighty, shall we drive? Why not? We want power. It's backwards. Great. There we go. It's working. It's working. Oh, I'm wearing a horrible safety vest. With our little Avanti West Coast thing. Michael says not notice anything. I don't think it's flickering on the stream. I was just watching it on OBS and it seems okay. It's only flickering for me, so I'll put up with it. Steve says, do you know you can't spawn a 710 into the GWR remastered version? As in you can't spawn one in free roam on timetable? Yeah, there's another one coming. We'll just watch this one come in too. That seems fair. So for those of you who like to play a bingo, we are trialling that this weekend. And it's sitting in the general topic of my Discord. It looks remarkably like this. If that actually showed, hopefully it did. Yeah. No, I didn't know you couldn't do that, Steve. What happens when you try? Oh, there's a nice little castle there. Where are we on the map? Center player. We're up here. Llandudno. Ooh. So we're inside a box. Going around the castle here at Llandudno. Is this castle one that a tourist can visit? Does anybody know? Because, you know, we're going to be in Wales later in the year. And when I say we, me and my missus. And we're heading off to Bangor. 14 miles away. That's a long way. This service is called At the Crack of Dawn. And I thought we might play a little TSC today because why not? Now, later tonight, I will be... Well, I shouldn't say will. I will likely be streaming again. It depends when my in-laws go home, because I won't do it when they're here. Because, you know, pay attention to your family and all that sort of thing. So I'll... Ooh, I'm going a bit quick. We better slow down for this 55 too. I'm used to this thing accelerating super slowly in Transim World, and it accelerates quite quickly in Transim Classic, it seems. I'll just let that manage itself for a little while. Steve says on PC it doesn't even show 710 in the selection box, and on PlayStation it doesn't spawn, or it says no space in memory. There, that was loud. Horrible. Ah. This is about as good a representation of the coast as you get in Transim Classic. I do like the new coastal tech that's in Transim World now. I quite like the Dawlish coastline. Let's get rid of this little pointer. I think it's quite nice what that does and how it works. We're about to go into yet another tunnel. Do I have headlights on? I'm not sure, actually. Do I? Better figure that out before we get in the tunnel, eh? Main cab lighting. Yeah, nighttime. Okay, fine. Yep, they work great. I'll give that a try later, but later on tonight I plan to stream. I'm going to continue my quest to crash my Xbox. It is currently sleeping. Cosmic says it takes you back 80 years. Oh, that's cool. You've been around a while then, Cosmic. This is always so weird. I will be visiting this area later this year. You miss Wales, Cosmic. Hello, Mark B. Welcome along. Wales is absolutely magnificent, Cosmic. I spent a couple of weeks in Wales in 2024. Yes. And I'm going back this year. Very much looking forward to it. Now that I've actually got everything set up, I can pay attention to my driving a little bit. I am running with the TSCX controller today using Cobra's software. For the people who are having challenges with the TSCX with Train Sim World, I do too. There are 2 groups writing software for it. Sim Workshop themselves are building some software, and there's another third party who I wrote reveal to, but that individual is relatively confident that he'll actually have it finished this weekend, so I will give it a try. Mark was a regular user of the line around 2000. Nice. We will likely be on the line later this year, because we're intending to spend some time in Wales on the trip, starting in Scotland. Actually, we're starting in London, but that doesn't really count. We're only there for a few hours before we jump on a train for Scotland, and then we'll come back down into the Midlands, around York sort of way, and then down to Chatham, because things, and then over to Wales for the rest of the trip. Now, I did stream last Sunday night in addition to this morning, and I do have a question for you guys, so I should pop in a poll, but let me just get the train under control. There you go. So I've popped in a poll, and I'll just explain it while I accelerate this train again, because it slowed down while I was building the poll. I did a Sunday night stream, which is Saturday morning for the Northern Hemisphere people, last week, and it was quite successful. It picked up a stronger viewership than this slot, so I am intending to try that time slot again tonight. What I'm curious about from the people who are watching today, watching now, would that time frame suit you? So would I replace this stream with Sunday night, which is Saturday morning for a lot of you, or would I retain both? Hello, C. Cosmic has recently purchased Train Sim and is enjoying it. Great, that's really good. A little crossing here. How did we end up out the back there? But this is pretty much Wales, just quiet countryside. Pops back in, completely misses a crossing. And is going way too fast, but that's okay. No. There we go. We're back under control, mostly. We can pretend anyway. It'll be fine on our way to Bangor this fine, slightly misty morning with many birds. Ooh, pop-in headlights. So it's not unique to Train World. C says this Sunday morning for you. Yes, it probably would be. It probably would be a Sunday morning, yes. So instead of being Saturday night, it would probably be Sunday morning for you, yes. No need to say sorry, C. Time differences are a pain in the bum. For the purposes of the bingo, bum is not swearing. Something about 2 inches from a bum might be swearing, but I haven't said that yet. Cosmic says, where I live, we don't have any trains. That's a bit sad. But at least you can make up for it with the simulator and you can get your fix. I kind of like this route because you're on and off the power all the time, just maintaining control of the train. When you're actually paying attention, that is. So far we've got 100% for keeping this stream along with a Sunday night one. I suppose another question then is, should I stream the same thing Sunday morning and Sunday night? Or would you watch both? You're on Gibraltar. Ah. C says we gain an hour on the 29th of March, so I guess you'll lose an hour. We do come out of daylight savings in, I'm going to say April this year, I think. It actually moves every year. But I think this year is April. So yes, the time will change of the streams. See, we'll watch both regardless. Well, thank you. I do try to be vaguely entertaining. Imagine if you didn't have the track monitor helping you and you were hurtling through this tunnel at the speed limit of 75 miles an hour and you saw that feather and signal at the end of the tunnel and went, "Ah!" That's the world's loudest AWS. I've been watching this interesting furor about whether TPWS is a Siemens system developing thanks to all aboard trains comments. It's not. Siemens may claim an implementation on one of their trains, but as far as I can tell, they don't actually have TPWS in any of their trains. There was some talk of a TPWS system for Victoria, but we don't actually run one. We have speed grids. We do not have magnet signals. Our signals are radio controlled in cab. So we've got the line side display, but there's also in-cab signalling. On the newer trains anyway. The older ones only have the line side, obviously. Rob Powell, good morning to you, or good evening, whichever suits you. We're in Wales today. We're arriving in Bangor. I don't know why we have to go all the way to the end of the platform, because this is a short train, but that's okay. There we go, open doors. I thought we'd pop into Train Sim Classic today, just because. This evening I will be streaming on my Xbox. I'll be streaming Train Sim World. And we'll be doing West Coast Main Line and Birmingham Crewe. We'll be looking for blurry textures, which I did eventually manage to achieve one last night. And I'm looking for services that actually crash the Xbox X. So if you have any services that actually crash the Xbox X on West Coast Main Line South or Birmingham Crewe, or even Mac for that matter, I am very, very interested in them. So please let me know. Sounds like there's a train coming. There is. I have ridden those. Nice little signal box perched up on the hill there. Hello to Zelly's Train Sim World, welcome along. You off, Cosmic? Oh well, have a good one, mate. KTL Rob Powell says, NWC, I'm so glad the original route got extended to Holyhead. I was disappointed. Pre-work days originally went to Llandudno only. I hope I am pronouncing that correctly. Probably not, given it's Welsh. Welsh is a slightly tricky language. I do think at times that the Welsh just take the piss out of the British. So, taxi, for example, is TASI, and bus is BWS, bus. So I do think sometimes they just take the piss, but... So there's a fair chance that I will be riding this line. Let's go look at this bridge. Since it's taken the trouble to light it up. That's pretty cool. Nice, in fact. We'll screenshot that. Why not? We tease the people on Steam. Rob Powell says, close enough. It's hard to get the hard C sound at the start for anybody that doesn't speak Welsh or Cornish. Yes. Do love a Cornish pasty. And why am I going so fast? Thank you, C. C, of course, a bit of a local. Yeah, I think my grand achievements in Wales are being able to pronounce Telethyn and Llangollen. Because, you know, it's not how it's spelt. There's a old fella who no longer works on my railway, where I'm a volunteer on the steam engines. He lives in a house that's by the line, so we wave at him every day because he sits out the front of his house and watches the trains, as you would. And it was him that convinced me to go to Llangollen, which was cool because I got to meet C. There you go. There's a train there somewhere. There it is. Well, look, the train actually reflects and the bridge actually reflects properly. Do you know whatever dev built this actually thought it through, which is good. Because often you see pieces of the bridge not reflecting, and sometimes you see the train not reflecting in the water. So, pleased to see that. Nice. It's a nice bit of attention to detail. C says, we're impressed you pronounced Llangollen correctly. Such a pleasure to meet you and spend a few hours with you. I'll never forget. Oh, it was a good fun day. We got to ride, I think, a Class 107, I think it was, wasn't it? That was fun. Wander around the town, have some munchies. Get yelled at for not buying coffee on the Llangollen Railway and going to a real coffee shop. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, your coffee coming out of an urn that's made of instant, that's been bubbling away in your urn for hours and hours, does not attract me. I want real coffee. And it's not as though we didn't support the local economy. We did. Rob says, progress report, by the way, on that scenario pack I told you about. 3 out of 8. Yes, 8 scenarios done. Ooh, working on part 6 through 8 from tomorrow. Then moving on to 4 through 5 on the Riviera when done. I am very much looking forward to that, Rob. Yeah, okay. Good view. That's no sun. That's a space station. Are you going to put out the scenario pack as a mod, Rob, or are you going to try and release it as an official one? It's always pretty exciting to have more scenarios. I don't play scenarios on stream all that much. I do sometimes, but not regularly in TSW, but I certainly enjoy them. I probably should play them on stream more, shouldn't I? I'll do yours. I'll do a whole series with yours, Rob. When they're ready. And if you want a hand testing them, let me know. I'm sure we can organise something. We have a green on the semaphore. That is something I carry from real trains into games, is calling signals, because we always call them to each other, the driver and fireman. You just say something like, green on the stick, boss. Or, depending on the driver, some of them you just do this. And if it's stop, it's... Some of them just want a hand movement. They don't want to talk. It's very, very loud in the steam engine. So they don't like being yelled at, so they prefer that you give them hand signals rather than try and yell at them. Plagued Wario, hello, welcome along. Thank you for joining the stream today. Another little bridge. It does still amaze me what can be done with this ancient gaming engine. Because this gaming engine has got its roots way back in the original Microsoft Sim. There are some elements of it that survived into this one. So it is actually 25 years old, effectively, parts of it. This sim, as we know it, was born in about 2008, I think, from memory. As Railworks, I think it was about 2008. And it progressed into Train Simulator and eventually became Train Simulator Classic when it was usurped by Train Sim World. Hello, Rails of Illinois, welcome along. How is Chicago? We do have bingo today. For those who are interested, actually, can I share directly out of my Discord? I've never tried. Let me just see if I can get a link to this thing. Copy message link. There we go. There's today's bingo card. I don't know if that'll make you join my Discord or not, but let me know if it does. Rail says, although it became about 2007, although it became available on Steam in 2009. Well, there you go. I think I got it in 2008. In fact, let me just put that on cruise for a moment. Ow! I just bashed my head on my light bar. This is my first one. Rail Simulator. That's when I got it. But yeah. It's quite cool. Let's speed up a bit then. Rails, you're not using Discord. Never mind. The bingo card is to play bingo from today's stream, so things that happen on the stream. There are things like mentioning my UK trip, which I have already done twice. Things like swearing, a spad, complimenting someone, an enforced safety system stop, bumping the microphone. Here, I'll give you one. There you go. There's been a mic knock. So as we run through it, let me just minimize the Discord so I can actually see you. We run through it, you just tick things off on the bingo sheet. You don't have to print it, you can just keep it in your head if you want. It doesn't get you anything this time. I am still going to do a giveaway for the 10,000 or 11,000 stream. How do you use bingo, says Michael. So basically what happens is every time so I'm ticking them off as I go, every time something happens like this one, where I did a mic knock, you just scratch it off on the thing, and if you get so we play several games here, if you get all the way that way, all the way across, you can just scream out bingo. If you get a diagonal one, it has to go at least 4, but you can scream out a bingo. And we might do one with the whole sheet, just to keep it moving. So horizontally, vertically, or diagonally today will get you a bingo. And it doesn't actually get you anything, it's just a bit of fun. And I'm slowing way down because I wasn't paying attention again while I was explaining bingo. So there's no prize today. I'm thinking about how do I reward people. And I'm kind of contemplating do I reward people by buying them a membership for a month? Something like that. Because getting proper prizes to people is actually quite hard when you're crossing state boundaries. And I know last time, the poor fella that won it last time, trying to get him a PlayStation gift card proved very, very difficult. We eventually managed it. I had to buy it. Oops, too fast. Ended up having to buy it from a supplier in his part of the world. And it took me a little while to find a credit card that his supplier would actually take. So, because he lived in a part of the world that's less accessible, shall we say, and I was kind of surprised he was actually on YouTube, to be honest. But he won the prize, and I went all out to get it to him, and it was very difficult, and it cost a lot more than the face value of the card too, because I had to buy it from what was basically a dodgy reseller. So, to go via rails, not a stop. So I'm not sure about DLCs and gift cards and stuff. I mean, we can do it, because I suppose the odds of someone like that winning is not very high, but I do want to do something for, well, it should be for the 10,000, but we just swooshed by that, and we're now over 11,000, because it's growing rather quickly. In fact, let me just check where we are today. Just have a quick look. No, wrong account. And analytics is what I want, I think. So 11,175 right now, which is pretty amazing. It's kind of cool. Pop that over there, see if it changes during the stream. I have got notifications turned on through Sammy. In fact, there we go. Just like that, new subscriber. Welcome to Llandudno Moffa. It says 11.1. Wesley says hello. Hello to you too, Wesley. Welcome along to the stream. So it's been pretty amazing that we just shot from 10,000 to 11,000. It's like, whoosh. While I was still thinking about doing something to celebrate 10,000, I thought, you know, I've got a couple of months, 3 months, 4 months. A couple of weeks later, we've gone over 11,000. It's like, what? Well, not that I mind. I'm quite happy with the concept. Yeah, so I'm running a bot called Sammy, and Sammy runs on your own computer, so it's not like Streamlabs or the others where you have to subscribe to a website and pay them something every month. Says he, going too fast. Yet again, I'm going to get told off by Train Simulator Classic at the end. It's going to go, you're a naughty boy. But that's okay. So we make our way to Holyhead. But, it's all a bit of fun. Good stuff. So there will be, what I'm trying to say in my infinite waffle here, is that there will be a celebratory moment for the subscribers. Everybody's behind the yellow line, good to see. So we roll through what is effectively moors, I suppose, but they're not described as moors in Wales. At least I've never heard them described that way. Rhyl says a lot of actors have recently passed away, and we haven't gone through the first 2 months of the year without hearing the news. Well, you know, people pass away all the time, Rails, and it sounds a little morbid, and it happens a lot. So someone is born, I think it's about every 12 seconds. and I think someone dies about every 8. So the world's population is actually going down slowly. It's different in the different areas, of course. The developing places like China and India and some of the Southeast Asian nations that, like Bangladesh, that have started to come into wealth, their populations are going up. But nations like Australia, the US, UK, a lot of the established European nations, their populations being born are going down. Their refugee populations are going up, but not enough to offset the deaths. So the world's in an interesting state at the moment where the older nations are effectively slowly dying out and the newer nations are starting to take over. It's just how things are. Some people are immensely challenged by those concepts, but 100 years ago it was some of the more established nations that were growing and the others weren't. And it's just, things change, it goes in cycles. As we cruise along to Hoard's Holyhead. I think Holyhead is as far as this train goes, actually. Let's just have a quick look. No, wrong. No, wrong. Don't do that. Back. That one. All right, yes, we're just going to Holyhead for this one. Rob Powell says you'll have to call it the Delay Repay Happy 10K stream. That's a good idea, Rob. I like that. I'm going to write that down. I like that idea. In fact, where's my... Rather than me just write that down on a bit of paper, why don't I put that on the streaming board? I might even make it a pun and call it the Delay Replay. Could do that. Because, you know, I like a bit of a shit joke. Get out the way. Such tiny platforms. Distracted driving, says Rails. Yes. Explains how 1 in 100 per kid have recently been born with autism spectrums, autism on the rise. I don't know that autism's on the rise per se, because I know that... So my son is ADHD, and he is, you know, openly, he's disabled. He lives with it every day, but in him I see traits of me at his age. And my wife sees things that she saw and felt at her age. So I don't know that it's new or on the rise. I think maybe it's just diagnosed these days. So more people are recognised as being influenced by it. And there's huge varying degrees too. So you can be very active and still have elements. And some people just can't actually can't function. So I won't talk about big details with my son, obviously, because it's, you know, it's his private world. But he, as an example, has recently summoned up the courage to step way out of his comfort zone and go and do some volunteer work. And he's struggling with it. And I'm sort of encouraging him to persist, because he'll get used to it. The word is conditioning. Rob Powell says, I think in regards to autism, we just know so much more about it than we did even 20 years ago. We did, yes. So Matt was originally diagnosed with Asperger's, but Asperger's is no longer recognised. It's seen as just being part of the spectrum these days, not as a separate thing. I think I might have slowed down just a touch early, but that's okay. We'll just keep rolling into Holyhead here. C says, hardly on the rise, just nowadays more understanding of it. It wasn't back in the day. Yeah, that's my general feeling. So the perception is that it's on the rise, so that you're considering that rails is correct. I think there's more understanding of it, more people recognise it. And I think it's a thing. I also think to some extent, and this actually pisses me off, that some people find it trendy to say that they have some kind of spectrum disorder. And they just say it. They've never been diagnosed, they just say they have it. And I think that is taking something away from the people who actually do suffer, as distinct from the people who pretend to get attention. I think there's quite a difference. I won't mention which one, but actually there's one that openly talks about it. So in the group of ambassadors for DTG, I believe there are two significant sufferers. One is very open about it, and that's Laserjet. So Laserjet shares his life quite deeply, and good on him for doing it, and good on him for getting himself to where he is, because I've met the guy in person. He's an absolutely awesome character. Absolute pleasure to speak to. He's so knowledgeable about railways. And yeah, hopefully I'll see him again this year, because he's just a cool person to talk to. The other one never talks about it, and I don't know if even they know, and I'm not about to mention it to them, because, you know, it's their life. I'm not going to mention who it is. But I think that person probably is. C says, being diagnosed with ASD, not ashamed to say it. Meeting you was way out of your comfort zone, and I've got papers from the hard, overwhelming assessment. Yeah, and it was quite obvious that you were very much extending yourself that day, C, and good on you. Because you did something that was really difficult for you, and you had a really fun day. I'm not saying you wouldn't have had a fun day without me there. I think that the day was the fun thing. So good on you. So of all the things in life, on those days where you can, challenge yourself. Challenge yourself to do something new. Challenge yourself to do something that's difficult for you. It's a sort of a philosophy I've had. Sometimes it can take you years to summon up the courage. So if you look at steam firing as an example, I did actually try steam firing. I think it was somewhere between 2008 and 2016, somewhere around that time frame. I don't actually remember exactly when. I did and passed the theory course, so I could go and look up the dates on that, I suppose. I've got the paperwork. And when it came into the practicals, I did some runs and I got overwhelmed and I couldn't do it. Just could not do it. I just could not get my head around it. So I stopped. But today, with a different mindset and significantly older, I'm actually quite good at it. I'm not going to tell you I'm perfect at it. I'm not. I do make mistakes. I do get it wrong sometimes. Sometimes I have a really horrible day. But there we go. That's close enough to the buffers, I think. Let's see just how close to the buffers we are. Plenty of room, plenty of room. Yes. Watch all the people wandering off. Here comes the ubiquitous Scottish girl. And this guy's going to headbutt me. Ah. You can rephrase that, Rails, it's fine. Rob Power says, welcome to Holyhead. Nice run. Have a break before your return journey. Okay, let's have a cup of tea. This is really handy for streaming because it holds about half a litre of tea and it stays quite hot for ages. All right, we shall do another. Bad guy says, I didn't know where you live, damn YouTube notifications, and never got a notification from Discord either. Oh, that's boring. Yeah, sometimes they don't work. It's a bit sad. All right, let's wander back into career scenarios. And so we just played... Which one did we just play? It's not ticked. Or is it? No, it wasn't that one. Oh, it was that one. Crack of Dawn, that's what we just ran. So let's run one of the 158 services. So why don't we go out to Crewe? That's not a bad idea. Those two together. That looks all right. We'll do those two. You have ridden the 158s. Is that on the bingo? Mention I've been here. Oh, that's on the bingo. We've done that. Right. And we have to get a lever map for a 158, so we can probably run that one. All right, you'll be in class of 158 starting from Llandudno. You'll be making several passenger stops on the way to Shotton, where part 1 will conclude. Please allow the passengers to board. Very good. And we might want some wipers, and you might want some headlights, I guess, if they're not already on. They're on markers only, so you probably want day headlights. No, not that way. Go that way then. Good. And tail lights should be off, which they appear to be. And reverser. I don't know if I actually got that hooked up to this thing. I don't. So we'll... Ooh. Okay, this lever's clearly backwards to the other train. That's fine. Now brakes will be this. That's fine too. So that works. Good. We're home and hosed. Does DRA work? No. Too much to ask. So we're in the little Transport for Wales 158. They are almost ubiquitous. That's rather quick for a door close on those things, I have to say. Oh, the horn button did eventually work. Can we open windows in this? Doesn't look like there's a hotspot anywhere for the windows. That's okay. We have a green on the departure. Lots of Gretas in action there.
How dare you?
I should put Greta on a bingo, shouldn't I? Don't worry, she only comes out once per stream. She's had her go. She's complained about our smoke. And that's okay. You had a bad night shift, Michael. Well, that's not good. Must be quite difficult doing traffic at night, especially in winter. Is it still snowing there? It must be a bit shitty. Off we go. Running through the lovely, lovely Welsh sunshine here. I still think it was pretty funny that when I was in Tarwin, which is spelt twin, but, you know, it's pronounced Tarwin, I was amused that it was about 12 degrees Celsius. It was sunny, and there were all these people in with bathers going down to the beach, and I'm sort of thinking, this is really cold, and they're thinking, no, this is really warm, this is great. I was like, okay. Rain definitely looks better in Train Simulator. I remember someone saying that before. They weren't kidding. Now I've noticed it. Yeah, look, I actually do think it's better in Train Simulator. Until recently, the rain effects on the window were actually... Some of the code had persisted into Train Sim World, but it's been removed now. It's the last of it's gone. But I still think Unreal's rain is not good. Another very loud, ear-piercing AWS. A safety system that makes your ears actually bleed is probably not a great idea, but that's okay. It was funny on the Llandudno Railway when I fired on it, just thinking of pronunciations, because I'm looking at this next one going, what the? But, ooh, what a nice compressor. That sounded quite good. I like that. We have a green on the signal. But on Llandudno, as fireman, part of my job was to pronounce the name on every token to the driver so that we could confirm that we had a token to proceed, because you always exchange your safe working messages, and a receipt of a token is a message. It's funny to call it a message, but it is. And I had to pronounce Abergwynnolyn. I can now, but I struggled a bit then, because it's not spelt Abergwynnolyn, not at all. I'm very pleased that my game has stopped flickering. That was starting to give me a headache. I'm glad it wasn't doing it for you guys. Bad Guy says, speaking of unstable games, mine just crashed. If you're playing on Xbox, Bad Guy, could you let me know the route and service, because I am looking for things that actively crash the Xbox back to the main Xbox menu with the game no longer running. I have my reasons for doing this. I can't tell you about those reasons just yet. Soon I'll be able to. But I am actively looking for services that are broken. No snow for Rails, no snow for Michael, so we've gotten over those days. I imagine that's a bit of a relief. Snow's really pretty and it's nice to look at, but it's pretty horrible to live in. Yeah, alrighty. Brakes off we go. There's that nice big compressor going again. You're on the PlayStation, PS5. Bad Guy says, yeah, Unreal is not great for rain, that's for sure. It's also not great for loading in objects really fast, as we've seen. There is some progress on that. So there are some upcoming changes to the way the game works. Matt did mention them on the live stream the other day, so I'm comfortable talking about them, because it's some stuff that I've known has been going on for a while. The devs have been doing some great work in isolating problem causes, but of course that wasn't public until Matt started to talk about it. Bad Guy wonders if we're ever going to get a fix for the UI on console. Can't even change the weather off dynamic, can't do anything because I can't get to the UI. It's just totally busted. You can work, you actually can do it, but you can't tell what's highlighted. It's a pain in the ass. But if you keep pressing, when you get to the button for start service or whatever it is, I can't remember the exact wording, you can actually keep going up until you get to the weather one. But yeah, I agree, it's not acceptable the way it is. So I hope it does get fixed. But I know at the moment they're concentrating on memory management to try and resolve the blurry textures and crashing issues. Which will be nice if those things can go away. As we slide on into Llandudno. Llandudno, in fact. 27 Mazari says, yo, what's good, man? Is there any way I can turn off the HUD in TSW6? Yes, you absolutely can in the settings. You can turn on the minimal HUD, or you can have no HUD at all. And in fact, if you're on PC, you can just press, I think it's F1, isn't it? Shift F1? One of those. It'll just turn the whole thing off. C says, TSW crashed on me last week, but I can't remember what route it was, but I hardly play it nowadays. Soon we'll have Thomas and Sodor. My gut feel, being very speculative because I don't know anything about when it's actually coming out, it feels to me as though from the announcements and the fact they're hyping it up with little short videos that we're going to get it really soon. It just feels that way. I'd be a little bit surprised if we don't. Bad guy says, I didn't know. No, thanks, Paul. I have to give that a shot. And yes, it's very annoying. I have actually got a video showing how to do it, I think. Soon TM, says Rob. Yes. Yeah, I just have that impression. It's pure speculation. And it could be utterly wrong, but, you know, it's just a feeling. 27 Mazari says also appreciate it. Have a good one and take care of yourself. Yeah, enjoy, mate. Thanks for dropping in. That signal is green, fortunately, because you're probably meant to stop before it. I would think. Oh, we did stop before it. Look at that. Before it enough, anyway. And we've already gone past it now. That's why it's red, I think. Let's get onto this camera. Oh, no, we're not quite past it. Oh, yes, we are. But it was actually green before I rolled through that. So I think the game thinks I've passed it and it's now gone red. So I think I'll ignore it at this point. Surely, it'll be fine. It'll be all good. Yep, clearly it was. Chris Martin, hello, welcome along. Bad guy says it means anything, Paul. I was London Euston to Tring 922 with the class 350. That's what crashed on the PlayStation. That is helpful because I can try that same service on the Xbox. So it was 350/1 Euston Tring 922. So yeah, it is definitely helpful. There's a lot of crossover between what explodes on the Xbox and what explodes on the PlayStation, naturally enough. They are almost the same hardware, which is kind of amusing. It's actually cool that the consoles show you what middle ground hardware is really capable of, because my Xbox X, for example, quite happily runs at 60 frames a second. Whereas if I built a PC with that same hardware, I don't think I could get 60 frames a second at 4K. So the dedicated console hardware does do a magnificent job of this sort of thing. Rob Powell says it's been amazing to become part of 81 years of history. Absolutely. Yes, Thomas the Tank Engine has been around for rather a long time in the forms of the stories and the books and the movies. There's been a lot of games. I've put it in my Watch Later playlist because I didn't have time to watch it when it popped up, but I saw a notification for someone who's actually collected footage from all the games since the first one, which was in 1985. So that'll be quite a good watch, I think. It'll be quite interesting. I've got some Thomas games on DVD somewhere, but I haven't tried to play them. They're from the 2000s. Chris Martin says, hi. Hello, Chris Martin. Welcome along. Heading off to Colwyn Bay. I kind of think, now I'm not 100% certain on this, but I kind of think when you went onto the 8 camera before the rebuild of TSC, it used to do this, so it would go out and then it would do this. But now it starts inside the train, and I kind of think it started fairly recently, last year, when TSC was rebuilt to cope with the deprecation of some of the services in Chrome. For those of you who aren't aware, Train Simulator Classic actually had to get some changes done to it to make it work in the modern environment, or it would have died when part of Chrome was killed, and it would have died when part of Windows 11 changed. So that's what kicked off the recent set of changes. And there was a great deal of other changes that happened, and there was some strong indication that there was going to be more work done, but unfortunately that seems to have drifted away for whatever reason. Which is a bit sad, but I am happy that we still have a working game without having to resort to something like keeping an old PC, like I do with Microsoft Train Sim. For Microsoft Train Sim, I've got an ancient laptop that runs Windows 7, which I use for MSTS when I bother to play it, which isn't often, because, you know, it's kind of horrible. Bad Guy says it was also on the intermodal timetable. Ah, cool. There we go. Doors open. Another little 158 rolling through. It's amazing how much of your imagination you use, because you look at these leaves, they're like this big. But your brain doesn't care. It goes, that's a tree? That's good. Because our brains are silly things. So he went all the way down the platform too, down the other end. Let's see where we are from a universal perspective. We're down on the coast here. Of course, that would be an awesome pier to go visit in the rain, surely. Wonder what this is. It looks like some kind of factory or something. Maybe it's a shopping centre. Who knows? Little town here. This will be the Premier Inn. How can I tell it's the Premier Inn? Because it's as far away from the station as you can get. They nearly always are. Although the one that I'm about to book for later in the year is actually very close to the station. It's almost in it. We should probably go, shouldn't we, instead of messing around here. There we go. Quick screeny. I'm going to assume the doors are shut. Off we go. It was on the intermodal timetable. I better write that down before I forget. Back up to 75 mile an hour as we progress out of Colwyn. To what I assume is Abigaili. Just checking on the bingo. Oh, I haven't had any other things on the bingo yet. As we progress along the coast here in this magnificent summer weather. Perfect. Just really doesn't get better than this. The other thing I've been contemplating releasing for streams, I'm not listening to any today, but often I do listen to a music playlist. Should I release that playlist so you can listen to the music at the same time? Because unfortunately YouTube doesn't allow you to stream music while you play, and not everybody would want to listen to it anyway, so I wouldn't want to make people go through that. Gratuitous bridge shot. Little castle-like tunnel. Probably should have turned the wiper off, shouldn't I? Abigaili, next stop. I see little footbridges like that, and I often think, where do they go? Okay, there's a industrial complex there of some kind. There's the footbridge. So it just goes down to the road, because there's not really a beach there, is there? I wonder if it gives access to this place, maybe. How fast are these things allowed to go? 90. Okay, very good. Look at that, how weird, paying attention. That's because the chat slowed down a little bit. Welcome along to the people that are watching that just like to lurk in the background as well. You certainly don't have to chat. You're absolutely welcome to if you'd like to. Anyone's welcome to have a chat. The only thing I ask is keep it nice and keep it vaguely on topic. This is an inviting beach. You just want to spread your towel out on those rocks and lie down and have a relax, wouldn't you? Bad guy says, I can't lick in the background. Unfortunately, I'm too much of a chatterbox. We need your jokes anyway, bad guy. Bad guy is the master of the terrible joke. Is the cab light on in here? Oh no, it's just bright. Sorry about continuously scratching my nose. It's itchy for some reason. Green on the signal. Rob says, bad guy, be it on Twitch or YouTube, is always making puns. This is true. And they're usually really bad. They're so bad that we appreciate them. Nice old brick station, signal box. Looks like the signal box is lit. Can we go inside? No. It's going to be empty. See? But look quite nice, doesn't it? Lit up like that. And there is an actual beach here. The ubiquitous mobile home park. What do you call a photo that an orphan takes by himself? A family portrait. Oh dear. Yep. Off to Rhyl. Green on the signal. And can we just take a moment to appreciate that this panel is brought to us by Voltron International. The funny names that technology companies come up with. I'm not too sure how well the little camera's lined up, but I could turn on the TCX controller. No, maybe not. Maybe not. Don't want to run over anyone on their way down to the beach. Hello.
It's getting muggy, so I'm turning on the...
Oh, cool.
We haven't picked up any of your clothes.
And of course, you realise what this means on today's bingo. The Mrs. Interrupts.
Hey, get stuff. You were meant to do stuff. You're a bad man. Don't let these guys believe you're good.
Well, that set her off like a bomb. I didn't pick up my shit, apparently. Oh, there actually is a beach here. Naughty, naughty, says Rob. Called out on stream, says Michael. Now I've been told. And Zellies has a giggle. Gratuitous bridge shot, it is. And no reflection of the train on that one, although you might not be able to see it on that bridge. Must have been getting warmer than I thought in here, because she popped on the air conditioner. It is pumping out frigid air. Actually, I just realised there was another thing ticked off on the bingo before. Indirectly, but still there. So, if I took 3 in a row, we'd have one. But we should take 4 in a row, shouldn't we? That's what's traditional. I do run RW Enhancer. I run the cheap version of RW Enhancer because it has the good graphic improvements without all the other rubbish that the expensive one brings in. I've tried the other version of it and I just wasn't happy, and I went back to the original. I don't actually have anything from AP. Nothing against AP, but if you don't get on the ground floor with AP, it's rather an expensive journey, and sometimes you can't even get all the prerequisites because they get taken off sale. So if you don't have them, you're kind of stuffed. Your only choice is to pirate them, which is not cool. We have got a green on the semaphore, but we don't need to go past it. There we go. Indoors. That looks quite modern, doesn't it? Whatever that is. It's one of the interesting things about Wales. I'm not saying that's representative of this area, it might be, but one of the interesting things about Wales is the the mixture of the very old and the very new, but it somehow works. Let me get a link to the one that I am using, just so you see which one is the right one. That's the one I run. It's quite good value for the money because it helps with the anti-aliasing issues that TSC tends to suffer from. That's the biggest bonus you get with it. It does give you some more fine-grained control over some of the features that routes turn on and off. That things like light bloom, which can crash your PC, it replaces the original light bloom, works better. Because there are some builders that insist on using it. So this headlight, for example, is a bloom light, and they're horrible on the frame rate. It's interesting that someone took the time to light up a lot of those windows. Just occurred to me I haven't put up a short this morning. I should do that, shouldn't I? It's, in honour of this, let's put up something from Wales. I used to worry about whether I was sharing the same trend video more than once, but I've decided it doesn't actually matter. As long as I don't do it every day with the same one. Green on the distant signal. Rolling up to the end of the platform, of course. No idea if we're on time. No, we're not. 4 minutes late. This is an example of the old and new. We've got the old station building and a fairly modern walkway with elevators over the top of it. Just popping up a short while we're waiting in the station here, and it's time to go. There we go, short done. Short posted live. C says, damn it, I was hoping for an overshoot. Don't worry, I'm sure it'll happen. At some point. It'll be one of those moments that I wasn't paying attention. Good to see the signal change there under the HUD. A little boop, 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 boop. Somewhat spent a bit of time on that. I appreciate that kind of effort. We've got rather a long way to Flint. 13 miles, so once this thing actually comes up to speed, it'll probably take us about 10 minutes to get to Flint. Salvatore, hello. Chris, I think, good morning. Indeed, well, good, it is good morning. And good evening for you. Is this game for Android or just PC? It is only PC. The only mainstream Android train simulator I know of is Trains 3, Trainz 3. There are some smaller ones. There are some, there's a few Indian ones, but you've got to be a little bit careful with the Indian ones. If you're paying for it, you're probably okay if you're buying it through a store. But there's rather a lot of sideload ones, so you have to put your phone in developer mode and load the APK file yourself. Those are ridden with malware, as a general statement. Little holiday camp there. Green on the signal, and we're into modern signalling now. Little junction here as the line heads off round to the left there. Looks like that's all rusty. This track is unused, I'm guessing. Where does it go? Inquiring minds. We need to know. It doesn't go anywhere. Boop. C says, I'm sure that's the train we went on from your short. You're correct, see? In fact, I think you were probably standing next to me at the end of the day when we filmed that leaving. Or videoed it anyway. It's funny how we say filmed, isn't it? Because it's not film anymore. I had a model shoot last Sunday, which is why I wasn't streaming in the morning. And I used my digital camera, but I also took a film camera with me, and I completely forgot that I had. I didn't use it at all. Which is sad, because I found a roll of film in the fridge, and I thought, I should use this. I have no idea how old it is, but I should use it. So it'll just have to wait for another occasion. It can just sit in the camera bag, it'll be fine. Green signal. Bit of a port environment. Let's pop out and have a look. It's strange that it has landform like that when you'd think it was a port. Because it looks kind of like a port, but nothing going to dock there. Green again. Back on the semaphores. Chris asks, do you prefer TSW or TSC? They both have their merits. I think TSW, for the most part, is probably more interesting for the long term because you have got the timetable, which is something you don't have in TSC. In TSC, you've got scenarios that you might get or you might pick up from workshop or build yourself. And you've got quick drive, and that's it. Whereas TSW has usually a relatively extensive timetable for each route, so it gives you more play opportunities. But visually, they're not actually that far apart, really. Because this old engine, certainly pretty good for its time. And while there are aspects of TSW that are visually far superior, there are also aspects of TSW that are not as good, like rain. Not that much point speeding up, is there? We've got another 75 zone coming. Oh well. What do I have such a short 90 zone for? What could speed up in less than a mile? Interesting. Green on the signal again there. Crows likes the more darker theme in TSC when it comes to the visuals. Indeed, Todd 4 in the mornings and the evenings is very nice. I'm looking forward to what the Medway route brings in terms of night lighting, because there's been some of Medway or Trent Valley, whichever one. One of the others promising some good night lighting. During the day, Todd 4 is a little hard on the eyes. When you're outside the train, it's okay, but when you're looking through a letterbox, because of the way Unreal works with the concept called eye adaptation, and you're looking from a darker place into a glary place, eye adaptation works along the principles of a digital camera rather than the human eye, and it doesn't have the kind of bandwidth or dynamic range that the human eye's got. So it's a rather poor approximation of what happens when you're in a darkest place looking out to a brighter place, because the human eye copes with it quite well, whereas cameras don't. There are some tweaks that you can do in the INI if you're on PC. You have to be very careful doing any tweaks because you can make the game unstable. A lot of people have found that out the hard way, including me. I don't generally run any tweaks when I'm streaming because for TSW, I like people to see what they're going to get and what they're going to experience, so I run it vanilla. Two and a half to Flint. Hardly seems worth speeding up, but we will anyway. The British Ace, you've caught me live. Yes, you have. Welcome along. British Ace is another one of the Dovetail ambassadors, has a lot of content, often concentrating on Southern for some funny reason. C says, I feel weather does need looking at again in TSW. The dynamic side of it's just weird how quick it changes. No, I think that's right, C. It is very, very, very quick. Sometimes weather really does change like that. So it is possible to go from sunny to rain, just like that. But sunny to heavy fog to sunny, they're not really all that possible. So I would love dynamic weather to change much more gradually. So maybe over the space of, it's like it would trigger the change and maybe take 5 minutes for the change to take effect. So rain would gradually build up, for example, or fog would gradually build up. And fog would need to make sense too. So at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, unless you live in particular places like San Francisco, a fog suddenly appearing on a sunny day is not common. Now, there are some climactic conditions, so San Francisco is one of them. At about 3:55 every day, the fog comes boiling over the San Francisco hills into the bay. And it happens nearly every day, and you can actually set your clock by it. And I should probably stop. You may be getting that overshoot, see? So if you haven't met British Ace before, definitely pop over to his channel, because it's got lots of good content on Train Sim World. Very positive guy. And I have to say, streamers like Joe and Richie that are... There you go, you get your overshoot for the bingo. But streamers like Joe and Richie and lots of others that are significantly younger than me are the future of this. So you should have a look at them because they're cool. I think, Joe, that you do mention your profession, but I'm not sure. So I'll leave that to you if you want to talk about that. I think I've heard you mention it on stream, but I'll leave it just in case. Alrighty, off we go again. Not so positive about the /3. Uh-oh. Yep, British Ace is a train guard for the south, and Adam at the end of the south for the TOC. C says, get in, overshoot. Yes. Yes, very much. We've got your overshoot. I don't think anybody would actually have a bingo as yet. I think a lot of those things on the bingo will feature each week, but I'll move them around. I used my usual graphic design software to make the bingo card, but some software that randomizes it would be handy rather than me having to move everything, so we'll see. Onboard supervisor, which is the polite way of saying push people out the door. Hello,
Is that
cat.
on the bingo card?
No, there's no pussy on the bingo card.
Was this on the bingo card? A child interrupting you?
A child bringing me cake? No, but I'll take the cake. Thank you. That's a snot block. I don't know how I'm going to eat that without getting it everywhere. Rob says, the reason I love you, Ambassador, is because you are honest. If it's good, you call it. If it's bad, you call it. If there's a problem, you report it, all with honesty and integrity. That is what we try and do. And try being the operative word. I mean, you know, emotions get in there sometimes. And that works both ways, so I know I react poorly if someone starts attacking the devs, for example. Because I'm quite happy for people to talk about problems with the games, but I never accept something like the phrase lazy developers, because I know from knowing some of you guys that absolutely you're not. That people spend really big hours working on the game and they put the hard yards in. And it's true that we don't always get the perfect outcome, but it's not through a lack of trying. Joe says, yeah, I wish more of it. I'll get you physically removed by security at the next stop, or the whole train will wait for you to leave. You don't just pick them up and throw them out, Joe? It's a pity you can't use the CCTV from the train, because I imagine you'd get some magnificent material for shorts from that. You could run a very funny channel, I suspect. C says, I watched 5 minutes of the East Coastway and turn it off rather than watch you guys play it and hearing them waffle on. I can't tell you about the East Coastway stuff, but for reference, what I will tell you is that I'm actually quite happy with the remaster. I don't think the date's been announced for that yet, so I won't talk about when it is. So I don't think we've actually been told. We just get Harry going, soon, soon, it's soon. And it was first mentioned in the November roadmap, in the 0 to 3 months, so to my mind that means it's coming out by the end of Feb, simply because it was mentioned in November. And there are how many days more in Feb? Depending on where you live in the world, what, 7 or 8? Depending on where you live, 6, 7 or 8 actually. depending on where you are with the dateline. Harry is very enthusiastic, and I have to say, there is not an iota about Harry that's fake. So there is no pretending to be that personality. She really is like that. Having met her in person and interviewed her for the podcast, for that matter. Right Way, Wrong Way Railway podcast. There is actually an interview that I put up, I think it was about September or October, an interview with DTG people. Well done, driver. Let's move on to part 2. So we will certainly do that. Cry says next week, most likely. C says I've got a feeling coming this week. C says, true that, Rob. Didn't mean any offence to DTG. We know that, C. That's all good, mate. All right, part 2. Let's go. Sounds like the in-laws have arrived too. You know, Rob says no, she's genuinely like that, full of passion and genuinely uplifting. She is, very much so. Continuing from part 1, having made a passenger pickup, you will complete the rest of the service to Crewe, making a single chop at Chester. Sounds like a plan. Let's get set up again. Headlights. Oops. Come on. Go where I want you to go. Not where I told you to go. And we are in forward, so that's good. The doors appear to be shut, so we can go. C says Harry would be amazing at doing podcasts like reading a book or something. She's got that voice and talent, if that makes sense. Yes, it does. Very much so. And Rob says, also a massive fan of 66s. Yes, she is. She's quite obsessed with the shed. Harry is the kind of person who I would say is not naturally energetic. It takes a lot out of her to be the person that she is. And she'll need time to recharge her batteries from time to time. It was a very teary moment last year when Harry was gifted a 00 scale 66. I think it was one of the moderators that gave her that, wasn't it? Yeah, there's another service coming. What is it? It's another one of these. Actually, I don't think it was one of these, was it? It was the other one. Whee! Wah! No, 175. 6 miles to Chester. C sent a video on Discord. I shall have a look at that after the stream, see? Cry says, if there's one thing you could change about TSW, what would it be? Lighting. Absolutely lighting. There's no shortage of things that I'd like to see different, but the only one that I think is actually really worth the effort on my list of things is very much lighting. Because most of the other things, are sounds perfect all the time? No. Are visuals perfect all the time? No. But to be honest, for me, everybody's different clearly, but so I'm not putting crap on anybody that feels they're not good enough. But for me, they're good enough. Because, you know, generally speaking, the trains sound like trains, they act like trains, and they look like trains, and that's what I want. Matt knows I'm not shy about telling him stuff. But I try not to repeat myself with Matt. Because I value his friendship and I don't want to jeopardise it. Because he is an amazing individual. The knowledge in that head that sports the cat ears most of the time, is just so much in there. So if you ever get a chance to meet the guy and have a chat, definitely do, because he's very knowledgeable about trains, he's very knowledgeable about gaming. He's quite impressive. Are we really going to have a 15-mile-an-hour turn? Weird. Hope not. Because I'm going to be hitting it at 70 mile an hour, if we are. Rob says, fun fact, those 175s now work in your neck of the woods. That's cool. They do tend to get around. C says, are they known as the flirts, 175s? Not sure if 175s are flirts. Maybe Rob will know. C says, I like Matt P. Feel he takes the brunt of the bugs and things not working right. I feel people overstep the mark when having a joke. Oh, I think he's up for a joke as much as anybody is, but I know when people go on the attack, he does feel it. He's pretty good at brushing it off, but I know it would be like someone walking up to your pram and punching your baby in the face. I'm not sure. Are there diesel flirts? British Ace comes up with karate-ers. Rob says, no, not flirts. I'll have to have a look and see if there's diesel flirts. I'm not sure. There's electric ones are flirts. The electric trains that are now running on Peninsula Corridor are flirts. It'd be really good to get them in game one day with an electrified route, but I don't hold high hopes for that, given the licensing change that happened. Very happy that the route stayed in the game, though, because I do like Peninsula Corridor. It's because I've lived there. I appreciate it more because of that. I mean, I've talked about it a lot, but I do live in, or I did live in Northern California for quite a long time. Lived and worked in the Bay Area, in transport, or public transport. was involved with every train, tram, or as they call them, streetcars and trolleys, and bus company in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, which stretched pretty much from Sacramento down all the way south to Orange County, Los Angeles. It was all part of my remit when I was there. No, you're not thick, see? Ace says the 175 is the same family as the 180. There's a big difference, see, between being thick and not knowing something. And, you know, you've got the courage to stick your hand up and say, is it one of these? And that signal, I think, is for the other track, so I'm going to ignore it. As we come rolling into Chester. And for those people who have seen my shorts, there's one about a 37 starting up, and that was here. Oh, I like the phone box. Got to expect Superman to jump out of that any second. On the Heritage Railway I work on, there's this thing we call Superman Corner. And we call it that because originally there was just a red phone box there, and it was there for about, I don't know, probably 45 years. We're going to make people walk all the way out here in the rain, aren't we? But multiple trains do come into the platforms here at Chester, so this actually isn't unusual. They share platforms. That'll do. But if we pop out here, because I changed trains here. I think I changed out of one of those from 158 and got into a, I think it was a 17, was it a 170 for the rest of the trip? I'm not sure. It was still a diesel. And there was a 150 sitting here from a different TOC that was going to the same place I was. And that short I did with the Class 37 starting up was about there. So it is always cool to recognise somewhere that you've been in the game. We haven't got a buzz. We do have the green signal to depart. And did I just cover something that was... no, it's alright. That one's already ticked off on the bingo. British Ace says, I've seen you in shorts. Yeah, hairy, eh? Hello, Daniel Robert Jowett. How are you? Welcome along. British Ace has indeed seen me in shorts. I kind of live in shorts when I'm on holidays most of the time, to be honest. Even when it's cold, I still do. Because being someone who likes to video stuff and take pictures, you often get down on your knees to get a good angle. And I don't like wrecking my pants, so I'm quite happy to get dirty knees. That doesn't worry me. So we roll our way out of Chester, heading for Crewe. So I would love this route to be in Train Sim World. This one and the Cambrian Coast would be another one I'd love to see in Train Sim World. That'd be really good. A little tired, Daniel. I get that. It's a tiring time in the world. We all have to have a lot more energy than we really have. C says, I think if I've done correctly, I'm one for a line. So you think you've got a bingo, C? What have you got? I'm just looking at my tick-off thing. I don't see a full line of 4, but what do you think you've got? I need to generate a full line of 4, but I haven't done it yet. I should just check my outside cameras and see if... No, the odds haven't turned up yet. You need one more. I know what you need. You need the outcome of drinking this. Because half a litre of tea's got to go somewhere. It's a very nice Korean tea too. It's from South Korea. It's a citrus and honey tea. We're really spoilt for tea flavours these days. Looks like we might get into the 90 zone. I'm not sure if we'll get there in time to not have to touch the throttle, but we'll see. Oh, yep, there we go. Drink up, says C. So, how do I eat this thing without being messy? Because if you've never met one of these before, they're often called a French vanilla slice, but it's puff pastry. This one looks like it's got caramel on top and custard. That's probably two, Daniel. That wasn't too messy. It does taste very nice. It's not caramel, it's actually coffee flavoured. Rob says you don't without a fork, but who uses one of those for a French slice? Yeah. Aussies call them snot blocks. Because it's basically two bits of puff pastry full of snot. And we're rude. I was just thinking, this is with a drone, overhead drone shot. I should relay something remarkably amusing. It's against the law to fly drones near a train in Australia. And there was one flying really, really close to the diesel that I was firing a couple of weeks ago. Firing, you're just sitting there really pushing the vigilance button all the time. But I reached out through the window and I grabbed it. And I just brought it into the cab. And I handed it to our station master at the terminus station to deal with. Because it was just so close to the train. It was only about this far from me and I managed to grab it. I was quite proud of myself. The driver thought it was funny as hell. Whizzing through Glynde in the Turbo Star, says Joe. We have some low-resolution cows over here. Moo. You don't like stickiness on your fingers. See, it is a little sticky, yes. But, no, I get what you mean. And how it could be taken. Harley said I had all the AP add-ons for the whole game on PC, but after my granddad passed away, it needed a code sent to his email to get back into Steam, and obviously I can't access it anymore, which is upsetting. Have you tried opening a support ticket with Steam to explain you don't have access to that email anymore? I would definitely give that a try. Clearly going downhill. It might be the base game he needs, British Ace. And yeah, sorry to hear about your granddad too. But I would definitely open a support case with Steam and try and get control of the account. Was the account a Gmail or something like that, or an Outlook or whatever, one of the big email providers? It's weird that Steam would say they couldn't do anything. Joe's probably right that you can probably get the AP stuff transferred to another account. With a Gmail, open a support case with Google, because if you can prove that you're the heir or something like that, they'll probably give you access to it. Fortunately, on the sticky fingers front, see, you can relax because I have millions of these wipes, because my other half likes to stock up on things, and during COVID she bought about 1,000 boxes of antibacterial wipes, so we're still going through them. Nothing to do with the bingo card at all, see, but here you go, green on the signal. I don't know if that'll help you, Harley. You can get access to data. What you should, just for anybody that's got a Gmail, by the way, this is something I've done for my family. You should always set up an inactive account with the details of someone you want to hand the account to.
Someone's at the entryway doorbell.
Yes, I need to go and open the door, I think, unless someone else gets it. There are people standing there. I can see them on my camera. I don't know if someone's getting them. Let me go and let them in. I'll be back in a moment. Righto, sorry about that. And while I was away, we missed a new subscriber. It's just ticked up one. But continues what we want, isn't it? Yes. No, my in-laws had arrived and no one heard the doorbell. So I went to let them in. My apologies. Yeah, definitely give it a try, Harley. But if you have got a Gmail, and because a lot of your life tends to revolve around email and Drive and photo storage and things like that, photo storage is probably the most important, but Gmail can be important for documents. Set up the inactive account manager, so that way if you don't touch your account for 90 days, it will control hands over to the person that you nominate. And I think that can be quite important, because sorting out matters after someone's death is very, very hard, because the world is privacy focused these days. They don't just give you access to stuff anymore. So it can be quite challenging. You should be able to change your email on Steam, I would have thought. So what you might do, Harley, is pretend to be your grandfather and do a lost email recovery for the account. And it's worth a shot. It's not as though your grandfather's going to get mad about it. Google do allow some forms of access C, but they can be very challenging about it, and there's a process. And yes, you will need to prove your relationship and your right. So what you could do potentially, Harley, and this might cost you some money, but if you've got a lot of money invested in the game, it could be worth it. Whoever was the executor of your grandfather's estate, they might be able to get access to it, because they'll have the documentation around that's needed. Because all you really need to do is get access to the email long enough to get access to the Steam account to change the email on the Steam account. Yes, well, help's always welcome, see? Coming back down to 70 mile an hour here. Quick gratuitous bridge shot. Only a couple of miles from Crewe now. Harley says I do some streams on my channel sometimes. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers. I'm nearly halfway there. Yeah, good on you, mate. We shall I've opened your channel in another tab. Now I can see you're into British trains. You've got lots and lots of shorts and other videos. So guess what, mate? You just got another one. So you got 216 now. Ray Sim Arcade, hello. Have you ever looked into Indian TSC mods? There's a whole world of routes and rolling stock out there, which maybe you can check out sometime. There certainly is. I have looked at quite a few of them. They're a little bit hard to get to. The kinds of commercial activity that are normal and acceptable in India aren't in other places of the world, so they have their own market, for example, or actually lots of them, and it's a confusing thing to navigate. But yeah, there's quite a lot of Indian train content out there. Some of it's free. I have run some free stuff. I've done the Darjeeling Railway, for example. I think I sent some money for that to support it. Sliding into Crewe, and our heavy mist with droplets has turned into a fairly heavy rain. Welcome to England, as it were. Very loud AWS. See, so I was posting on my channel that I gave up and deleted them all. I'm not bothered about subs. You do visit a lot of trains, see? You can always do shorts. Shorts, generally speaking, don't get any interaction from people. You get the occasional comment, but not much. And people just roll their way through them. So it can be an easy way to manage YouTube. Or TikTok, or whatever you prefer. I don't personally use TikTok. I actually have set up a train simulator driver account. I mostly set that up on each streaming platform, so I've got one on Kick. I've got a few others. I set up an account mainly to stop other people pinching the name. Because, you know, the world's full of interesting people. Good night, Rob. Thank you for joining in. Have a good sleep, mate. Ray says, yes, Indian anons have their own markets, and maybe too much to understand at first, but I can help you get out if you want to go down that rabbit hole. Yeah, there's a lot of really interesting content. Finding ways to pay for it is one of the hard things, because my credit card provider won't accept those markets, and you need to find one that you can pay with PayPal or something like that, really. Welcome to Crewe, folks. Zellies has given another one to Harley. That's nice. Very nice, Zelly. I don't mind people doing a bit of a shout out that they run a channel here, because it's great to support up and coming creators. If someone with 1 million subs came in and did it, I'd probably ban them, but the little creators I like supporting, because I am a little creator, and I remember what it was like to start. It wasn't that long ago. It's quite hard. It's quite a journey to be able to get to the point where you can do things like community posts, and eventually get to the point where you can monetize. Not that it really pays you very much, but, you know, it's debatable whether it's even worth the effort, but it does pay for a lot of the games that I bring to you, which is cool. There we go, we've arrived at Crewe. If this was Train Sim World, I'd be shutting the train down by now and changing ends probably, but it's not. And that doesn't really work in TSC, so we won't even try. You can flip up to the other end, of course, but... Real Lord Vectron says we're a wholesome community here. Yeah, we are for the most part. Even with the pictures of Emily and the Fat Controller. My Discord is a little less wholesome. But at least in theory, you can't really have any kids in Discord, so it should be relatively safe. Whereas here, you have no idea who's going to watch you. Alright, we will do one more short one, because I do need to go and pay attention to the in-laws. What have we got that's a nice short one? I've done them all, haven't I? Of course I have. We've been in a 158. We haven't done anything with a 175, so maybe we'll do part of one of those, perhaps, along the coast in the 175. Mank Piccadilly to Holyhead. Or crossing the border, so that's another Voyager. Look, we'll start this one, but we won't do the whole thing, I think, because I do need to go and chat with them. Real Lord Vectron is your Christian eyes. It was cursed. British Ace says, now let's go back. Real Lord Vectron says, TSC only has program scenarios, no timetable mode. It doesn't have a timetable mode, and I'll just sort out my levers. There is a 175 in here, so we'll use that one, I think. Been held just outside Prestatyn due to a preceding train developing an engine fault. Latest reports inform the unit will be able to make it as far as Rhyl and the line does not get blocked. Keep an eye on the signal, get moving as soon as you get a clear road. Very good. Where are headlights? There they are. It's got day headlights on already. Reverser is not set yet though. I thought I did just set the reverser. No, let's put it back in neutral. Reverse. Well, interesting, it goes into the off position when it's in forwards, but that's okay. We'll just ignore that. Oh look, more rain. Yay! Just what we want. But it is a fairly sunny day. We've got our little 175 for us for this part of the journey. So once we get the road, we will get out of here. In the meantime, we'll have a look around. Where are we exactly? A little bit of a city. Down by the seaside. Where are we on the route? So we are up there. So we probably won't go as far as Holyhead. Probably do another... Yeah, let's go here. We'll go as far as here on this trip. And that'll be the end of it for today. Real Lord Vectron says, thought so, haven't played it since CSX Heavy Haul Beta, and I'd probably need $1,000 worth of add-ons to get a working scenario these days. No, they're not too bad, really. And Cry says, I'm really excited for the Czech route for TSW. I've had an individual reach out who's been giving me information on Czech signalling, so been looking through that, trying to learn how it works. It's probably not as complicated as German, but it's more complicated than UK signalling. If I had to compare it to anything, I'd say it was on a par with Long Island Railroad for complexity. So it's complex, but not horrible. Zelly says, but you can create a timetable scenarios almost to real life, not limited to 5-minute increments. Yeah, you can. Oh, there's our signal. Now, is the lever going to work with this? That's the question, and it doesn't look like it is. That's sad. We'll do it by hand. Righto, back to keyboard mode. That's okay. Not everything works with the TSCX. British Ace says, can I donate you the AP track to EP? That's nice of you, British Ace. Daniel says, it was interesting to check it out. Oh dear, Daniel. C says, don't you need the toilet before we start? Nah, not yet, mate. I'm good. Very smoky little train there. The top of the grass cut off. That's kind of funny. Strange little artifacts you see occasionally when you look in places no one ever thought you would. We've actually had... So clearly Sammy's not getting all the notifications because we've actually had 5 new subscribers since the stream started. I'll have to chat with the people who make Sammy and find out why it doesn't come through. Because I have noticed it doesn't seem to pick up everything. It's a nice try, C. It's a nice try. That looks remarkably yellow, doesn't it? We haven't had an AWS warning for it, which is interesting. Oh. Now we have. Given that was a single yellow, I'm hoping this next signal's not red, because I'm not sure we're gonna make it. We might. C says God loves a trier. Yeah, I think we'll be okay for the signal, actually. Cries says, I heard that DTG has a lot of licenses for other countries that have not been added to TSW. DTG do hold licenses for a lot of operators that are yet to appear in the game, but that doesn't mean that they ever actually will. No, signal's green. Vectron says, I've seen a statement regarding both from DTG employees and non-employees, so I take those with a grain of salt. No, it's true that they do hold licenses that aren't in the game. There's no secret about that. What they don't generally tell people is what licenses they do have. But that doesn't mean there's plans to put those things in the game. It just means that they have negotiated the license, and if things become suitable commercially, then they'll probably build it. C says, realistically, am I right in thinking TSW only has 6 months of contract till TSW 7 is announced? Not one of them being jokes about TSW 7. Look, I'd say TSW 7's probably a given now that we've had one each year now, so I would just think, yes, it's probably going to happen. I'd be a bit surprised if it doesn't. I do speculate, I don't think it'll be this year, being really clear, but I do speculate that we're up for a new train sim something at some point that will be a new game, because Dovetail are playing with Unreal 5 with Metro Rivals, which I get the impression that's also not terribly far away too. Oi, get out of the map. Damn it, we missed the bridge shot. Bloody map. It's, I don't expect that to be too far off. And I kind of think that once they've cut their teeth and they've got a team that's experienced with Unreal 5, the next logical step is looking at another train game in Unreal 5, one that's more realistic. It's very generous there, Joe. C says realistic, am I right in thinking let's talk about that one. Annoy the people in a holiday camp. Because you should. C says, I'd like to have an option to be a signaller on TSW. Optimistic, but I know one can wish. And I think that would be an interesting option to be a signaller. If you've never looked at it, the UK has got SimSig, which starts off fairly simple, and you can grow into some very complex signalling environments where you're actually doing the job of 4 or 5 signallers all at the same time. I'm curious why that one went off with a green, but anyway, that's okay. Cry says, I believe we'll get that game before 2030. I wouldn't think that was out of the question. So let's just say I wouldn't be surprised if it got announced. Hello Hawks, how are you? We're just running this one to Llandudno, and that'll be it for today because my in-laws have arrived to share lunch, so I shall go and pay attention to them, but we'll get this one out of the way. Green on the signal as we roll under the footbridge here. And through another small station. Time to scare these guys. As you do. Lovely sunny day in Wales this time. This isn't as unusual as Wales might be portrayed to be. In the time that I was there, it was sunny more often than not. There were some rainy days, but it was mostly sunny. It was quite pleasant. I was there during summer, of course. Vectron says, I enjoyed that dispatcher scenario on Riviera. Having that as a dedicated mode for each new route would be cool. Yeah, I think so. Station dispatcher would be interesting on the busier stations anyway. On the little ones, I think it would be kind of boring. But on the busy stations, something like Euston, that would be a fun thing. Or some of the stations on Brighton Mainline, like Croydon, for example, would be a good one. Running around from platform to platform to dispatch trains, that would be fun. C says, I mean, probably more than likely be awful at it, but good learning experience. Oh, I think it'd be fun. I'm good, Hawks, thank you. Glad to hear you're good too. Thank you for joining in today. Well, we just got another subscriber. That's cool. See, that's what I mean about how Shorts is driving subscribers now, because I posted a short earlier in this stream and have picked up now 9 subscribers, and they're probably coming from that short. They're probably not coming from this stream, although they might be. I shouldn't assume they're not. Am I braking too hard? Yes, I am. But we have got a little bit of a hill going up and then down the other side. Another service coming the other way. Looks like a 158. Lord Vectron says, even if the tasks were built into the timetable mode, so you can spawn into free roam and it drops a list of tasks you can do. If you fail to do it, then AI does it to keep the schedules. Lord Vectron says, and scripted scenarios for more interesting things. Yeah, I think it could be fun. It could be a good addition to the game. Going to start heading downhill now with our really, really long train. All 3 coaches of it. You go see, it's still going in. Now, if you definitely like being a dispatcher, there's a couple of ways that you can get your fill apart from SimSig. SimRail does have it, so the signalling mode in SimRail is actually quite good. I'm not a huge fan of the trains in SimRail, but the signalling one's actually fun. The other one is Run 8. Now, Run 8's a massive learning curve, and it probably only suits the hardcore US fans. But the server I ran on has died, so I haven't done it for ages, but the dispatch mode in Run 8, if you get onto a multiplayer server, if they trust you enough to do it, is a lot of fun. And if you get players that annoy you, you can park the bastards in sidings and go, well, you're going to wait there for 4 hours, mate, and I'm going to send 8 trains past you. And then you can come out, and that's because you've been a knob. So, quite enjoyed that process. C says guard mode was a scenario first for Glossop. Yes, very much so. So, Matt has specifically said that there's no plans to do a dispatcher mode. But, you know, we'll see. I think the more people talk about it on the Dovetail Discord would be a good place to chat about it. Hype things up, because if they see that the market's interested in it and that it would be a selling feature, that's what's going to drive them to do it. So it needs to be a selling feature. I would like to see some work done on guard mode because it's a little half-assed at the moment. On quite a few of the trains with guard mode, the door lock controls are weird, and if you don't follow a very precise sequence, you get stuck. The fact that it's very unusual to have any tickets to check from the first station, so if you climb into something like a Pendolino to guard it, the only thing you get to do is close the doors at Euston and open them again at wherever you got out. So, you know, it's a bit shit. You just sit in a chair the rest of the time. Vectron says people only seem to care about new routes in that channel. Yes and no. Depends how much you pump it up, I guess. Got me not paying attention to the speed. So I will, more likely than not, stream again. I'll schedule it. So if I am going to do it, I'll schedule it because I want to continue the quest for crashing services on Xbox. We came really close to knocking one out last night. I have let my console sleep overnight rather than turning it off, which is not common for me. I normally shut it down completely. So it's still running the game in sleep mode. So it should be in the position that it was in when we finished last night, and we were so close to having it crash that I think maybe the next service we try might actually take it out, and that is what I want to have happen. I'm unable to tell you why. I'm sure you can guess, but I can't tell you why. If we can make it happen reliably, even if it takes a few hours to get it into the state to make it happen, that's what I need. So if you know of any services that do crash the Xbox, particularly the Series X, I'd still like to know about Series S as well, because I have got it on the S, and it is set up ready to go. I just haven't been running it at all, really. Then please chuck them in my Discord in the TSW section, because I really genuinely want to find some that reliably make the machine crash. And by crash, I'm talking about going back to the Xbox main menu and have to start the game again. Or better yet, reboot the console and have to start the game again. Either of those scenarios is what I really need for this. Zelly says, I had that experience with Guard Road and HST with GW Area Master. No ticket checks, told to wait until the next stop. Yeah, it's not the best experience, really. That's what I very much agree, it needs work. I think it's a really good idea, but it needs some additional effort put into it. C says, guard mode, like Joe said, who uses it? I don't. It doesn't work correctly, kind of pointless. There's some it does work on. So if you can find those ones. So in the Great Western Express Remaster, for example, there's a couple of them that are actually really good with the 166. They actually works quite well. But it's not common, and not all the services present you with much ticket checking. There's one that I really loved. I got into the train, it had like 199 tickets to check, and I thought, bloody hell. Well, that's pretty close to reality. Alright, we have arrived. Doors open, I hope. The button works. Yes, it does. This will be it for today's stream. I do intend to be back with Xbox, but keep an eye out for a scheduled stream, because I will let people know that I am going to do it. And like I said, if you've got any services that do it, chuck them in. See, no such thing as a stupid question. Bandwidth is the amount of data traffic I can push out of my network. And from time to time, on streams, I have been known to complain about it, because sometimes the stream gets interrupted because of external issues that are chewing up bandwidth, whether that be someone in here or someone outside. Mostly it doesn't happen with people inside the house anymore, because I have a gigabit coming in and 400 megabit going out. So me running out of bandwidth for a stream, because I use about 25 megabits to run the stream, me running out's really unusual these days. So rather than get narky at the family for using bandwidth when I'm streaming, which isn't fair, I elected to pay more to get a better internet service. So it doesn't generally affect me, but every now and again something happens and weird stuff happens. But anyway, that's it for today. You were pretty close to the bingo there, see, and I will tell you that I do need to go to the dunny, but not yet. So maybe I'll see you tonight, and if not, I think based on the poll, which was what I asked, I'll just end that now, but the poll that ran for the entire stream got decent amount of votes, 30 votes through there. So it talked about adding a Sunday night stream, which was correctly, yes, it is Sunday morning for the Northern Hemi peeps. So we'll keep this slot too, and overwhelmingly that's a yes. So if I take up Sunday nights as a regular thing, I need to discuss that with the family, because obviously they need to agree to the time frames and stuff. But then I'll keep Sunday morning and Sunday night. Cool. Alrighty, so enjoy yourselves, folks. We shall see you next time. I have not yet scheduled anything for during the week. I need to have a think about what I want to run, and we will sort that out. And I do like Rob's idea of a 10k delay repay, but I think I'll call it a delay replay, because, you know, it'll be fun. Alrighty, have fun, folks. Enjoy yourselves, and we shall see you later. Bye.